Alright, here we go, Strings and Seeker. I've been looking forward to this because this is going to be a very, very interesting match. It could go very quickly, it could take all duel because Seeker defensively is very strong, some of the cards he's got in his deck. Strings, on the other hand, doesn't have really anything to attack with. His strongest monster was Humanoid Wormdrake, unless you count Slifer. I have put Slifer in his deck, and reason being is because without Slifer, his deck doesn't really pose any threat to anyone, and he will just get absolutely belted every duel. So he needs to have Slifer for his deck strategy to actually be a strategy. So I put it in. Alright, Strings has started off with 2 face-down magical traps, and then he has gone with a face-down defense monster and another face-down spell or trap. So Seeker has drawn Shard of Greed. The Dark Door is a very good card. That means only one monster can attack per battle phase. Shard of Greed will gather spell counters until you have 2, and then you can send it to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. Gear Golem with the Moving Fortress, you can pay 800 points and then that can attack directly on that turn, but then you have to put it to attack mode. It's a 2200 defense, so it's not a monster that you want to squander. Alright, Strings activates a Jar of Greed to draw an extra card from his deck, and you do see, oh, there's Jam Defender, although Strings does have a, sorry, not Strings, Seeker. Seeker does have a remove trap. Jam Defender means you can switch the attack of a target to Jam Defender, which Strings currently doesn't have on the field. Alright, there's Supply Squad. So if any of Seeker's monsters are destroyed by battle, he can draw a new one. He can draw another card. And as you see, he does have Exodia in his deck. He doesn't have 3 copies of each one. Reason being is for me to do a multiplayer duel like this, I can't have multiple cards that you can only have 1 copy of, otherwise the game just won't let me use a deck to do a multiplayer duel with, which, even if it's unranked, which is a bit of a shame, but he does only have 1 copy of each Exodia card because that's as much as I can put in. Same with banned cards, I can't put banned cards in. Alright, though Seeker has put Jar of Greed down, he's also got Dark Core as well. You can banish one of your monsters on the field to destroy 1 card on the field, or is it a monster on the field, something like that. It may need to be a face-up monster as well. Strings has activated 7 Tools of the Bandit to block that Jar of Greed. So literally this duel could take a long time. We could see a lot of defending because Strings' strategy kind of wants him to be able to hold out until he can get Slifer on the field and hopefully draw infinite cards to draw or to boost the amount of cards in his hand. And as you see, second Exodia piece as well for Seeker. The thing with Seeker as well, with his deck, if he draws a lot of his Exodia cards first up, he can get in a lot of trouble because if he draws like 3 of his Exodia pieces in the first few turns and he's got no monsters to defend himself, he's pretty much stuffed. He'll have to put his Exodia on the field and then he can't really do anything else. So anyway, Gear Golem with the Moving Fortress did get attacked by Jam Defender. Just, it's a shame that Strings lost his did I say Jam Defender? I think Jam Defender is the name of the trap card that got destroyed. That's Revival Jam, the monster that he's just got in the field now. Alright, Strings also with a block attack, but not really much threat right now. And its Stone Statue of the Aztecs is attacked as well. That does double battle damage your opponent takes when they attack this monster. That's a good defensive card, and Seeker also has Yellow Luster Shield on the field as well. There's Swords of Concealing Light as well. That'll flip all of Strings monsters face down, and they can't do anything for 2 turns. So Seeker's deck is basically to stall. You want to stall as long as possible until you can draw all the Exodia pieces. And as you see with these 2000 defenses that are easy to summon, he can very easily lock down a duel. But the thing is, with defense decks like this, if you come up against an opponent that's got a lot of attack power, say like a Kaiba that's going to put a Blue Eyes onto the field very quickly, or anyone, even say like a Mai or a Taya from the Duelist Kingdom, Taya, if they're going to draw cards that are going to power up their monsters very quick, if you get all of Strings' defenses opponent Strings, Seekers. If you get all of Seekers' defenses off the field, you can very quickly overwhelm them. And, you know, 2,300, 2,500 for defense, that's not that high. It's strong, but it's not unbeatable. The thing with Seeker's deck is it's not built to attack. Like, literally, Seeker, I would be surprised if he launches a single attack the entire series of Battle City, because it's just not what his deck is meant to do. Anyway, we've just seen a polymerization from Strings, Humanoid Slime, and usually it's Wormdrake as well, but he does have a Beast King of the Swamps, which can be a substitute for a fusion, kind of like Versago the Destroyer or Goddess with the third eye. So Humanoid Wormdrake comes to the field. Strings' deck has been built around Humanoid Wormdrake. I've actually got that card too, Humanoid Wormdrake. I don't have the 2 fusion materials for it though. Alright, there's Venom Cobra for Seeker, that's another 2,000 defense. So Strings' deck has it has goo monsters like Gruesome Goo, Change Slime, Amoeba, I think I said Change Slime, Liquid Beast. Some of those monsters are in there to sort of keep that theme of him having like a, because a Revival Jam's kind of like a goo as well. Alright, we've just seen the 3rd Exodia piece drawn, and he's not even halfway through his deck. Alright, so he has got 6 cards. He's got a Swords of Revealing Light as well, which is a super useful card. Oh, there's infinite cards. So there is now no limit to the number of cards that players can have in their hand. It doesn't really affect Seeker at all. He's not going to mind that, but now Strings has to draw... he has to draw Slifer the Sky Dragon. And even if he draws it and he attacks, Seeker does have that that Supply Squad card on the field, so any of his monsters that are destroyed by battle, he can gain another card from his deck. He'll draw another card. There is another card which I considered putting in Seeker's deck, and it's called... I can't remember the name of the card, but if you draw a normal monster, so not an effect monster, just a normal monster, you get to draw another card from your deck. What's the name of the card? Nah, it escapes me. I'll have to look it up. But again, that is also... Okay, did you see what happened there? So Strings played Amoeba, and then he played Sheehan Spy, so he could send Amoeba to his opponent's field. When Amoeba does that, so when you have Amoeba and you send it to your opponent's field, or whatever effect puts it to the opponent's field, they take 2,000 damage. And then he attacked with Humanoid Wormdrake, and Seeker has lost 3,900 points of life in one turn, and there's Exodia's head. Ooh, I don't like Strings' chances here. He's going to have to draw Slifer the Sky Dragon very, very quickly. And even then, with the Dark Door, he can only attack once per turn, so he's not going to have a chance of getting... And there's a Sangan as well, which... well, in theory, you can just attack with Sangan and he can draw that last card anyway. So yeah, that's what he's going to do. So Seeker's deck is actually going to be tough to beat for characters who don't have a lot of attack power. And that's a great move as well. Attack with Sangan, destroy it, and then you can draw the last Exodia piece. So Seeker is going to be a tough one to beat for a lot of duelists. Mainly because of how sort of thick his Exodia deck can be. Strings, he's probably going to be one of the weaker duelists in the series because his whole deck strategy revolves around him trying to draw Slifer the Sky Dragon. So if Slifer the Sky Dragon is on the bottom of his deck, he's really got no offense. He can really only just sit there and bide until he draws Slifer. So Strings' deck strategy, it is very true to his anime deck, but it's also very easy to beat as well. But anyway, that was Strings versus Seeker. A little bit anticlimactic, but these duels are also very tactical. You're not really going for, you know, a 5-star match here. You're just going to stall until your opponent inevitably sees Exodia come and literally punch them halfway to the moon. Anyway, that is a duel between Strings and Seeker done. Let's pull up that tournament bracket just so we can see who's coming up next as I filter through and click up my... There it is. So Seeker defeated Strings. We've got Yugioh against Loomis and Umbra coming up, and Bakura and Mako. Bakura and Mako could have a good match. Yugioh and Loomis and Umbra. That could be interesting as well, because Loomis and Umbra have some very nasty trap cards. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for tonight. I'll be back at it likely again tomorrow with some other duels as well. Until then, thanks for all the comments. Wherever you are in the world, keep safe, take care, farewell.